I saw Elephant Man a few years ago, and I was astounded with the power of the story. It's really one that left a huge impression on me. Yet, there were some things that I wanted to add, some dimensions that I felt like were untold in the story. I really wanted to find a new perspective. I'm Matt Logan. I'm the artistic director of Studio Tenn and the director and designer of The Elephant Man. One of the themes that I found in the piece to be very inspirational was the idea of facades. And as you look at the set, we've created two facades. It's two worlds that you see colliding in this design. You see the romanticism of the theater surrounded in all its glory, and then through that you see the greenhouse, which is the hospital, that a little more sterile. It's a lot of glass and metal. These two worlds, to me, were an example of the two different cages that John Merrick traded, one for the other. He didn't have freedom. He had to be confined in order to be protected.
Putting myself in his shoes creates this whole other reservoir of energy that I literally never knew I had. I think that's my favorite part about transforming on stage without prosthetics, to challenge people to use their imagination and put themselves in his shoes. I'm Taylor Novak, and I'm playing John Merrick in Studio Tenn's The Elephant Man. For me, John is kind of a symbol of what can happen when you give someone a chance. When someone seeks refuge and, acceptance and receives it, the way it can change not only his life, but the people around him.
This has been a role that's been really easy to put myself in those shoes and wonder how I would respond. And it's interesting that in so many ways those things are running parallel, because she is so much about facade, and she is introduced to him because they rely on her to be someone who won't faint in shock, simply because she can put up those illusions, and he so quickly sees past that. They could both so easily be perceived as one thing, and I think most of the time are, and suddenly when they are in the room together, they become something else because they don't have to worry about what's only on the outside anymore. I'm Megan Murphy Chambers, and I'm playing Mrs. Kendall, the actress in Studio Tenn's The Elephant Man.
When you think of this play, you maybe think of the actor who plays John Merrick, the Elephant Man. You might even think of Bradley Cooper. But I think from an emotional, even a spiritual standpoint, Treves has the biggest arc and has the most transformative change. I'm Brent Maddox. I'm playing Dr. Frederick Treves in Studio Tenn's The Elephant Man. He's a scientist in an age of science. This was, Darwinism at its height. He is a teacher, he is a lecturer, he is very successful. He published several books before the age of 31. So very much a workaholic, very much an achiever, and very ambitious. I think that's what a lot of what drove him, and I think that's part of what his tunnel vision is. He sees John Merrick as his next success.
Dr. Treves describes all of my deformities and afflictions, and I interpret that through my body, through movement. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a grueling process and it didn't hurt. I need to earn the right to tell this story, and that makes the pain worth it.
Well, I was attracted to The Elephant Man ever since I saw the production in New York, the original New York production, so it had to have been at least 35, 40 years ago. And so when Matt Logan asked me to take a look at it and revisit it, I got excited again. I'm Conrad John Schuck, and I'm playing Efkar Gam in Studio Tenn's production of The Elephant Man. He's like an executive to a large corporation. He's very concerned about the hospital making money, and he sees in Merrick an opportunity to bring sources of income into the hospital. So he's very much not dealing with this on human terms at all, but in business terms. So that's a fascinating line to walk. And then how do you show at some point that he, in spite of his best efforts, has been effective? We need to examine all our institutions and the way we treat people, and our fear of those that are different from us.
John Merrick wrote about himself that the measure of a man is his soul.
As soon as he sees him as more than just a patient, and he sees him as a man struggling. That really pulls on my heartstrings, and I think that that is something we all see that sort of levels the playing field.
He's aware of his afflictions in the way he looks, and it's hard to have people to stare at you. But there are moments where, just like anyone else, he wants people to see him, not just for who he is outside, but who he is inside as well.
It's theater at its best. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, it moves us, it makes us think, and hopefully it'll make us discuss it long after we've left the theater.
It's such a divisive time right now. I love the idea of everyone getting to watch a story about well-intentioned people trying to help someone make their life better when they don't have to, but they choose to, and something wonderful happens.
When people walk away from an experience and they're asking some of those questions about the human spirit, somewhere along the way they're being moved by those things.
I believe the Elephant Man brings to life a very important narrative that we really need right now. It's so easy to box people in, to sort of feel that you understand them. I got you. I know what you are. And yet, personally, we all struggle to be seen, and we all struggle to be understood and to be heard.
Once we get through our fear and disgust, find that there is an extraordinary person under the packaging.
He was an exquisite man with a real developed brain, with the imagination of a child. I want people to walk away and truly believe they spent an hour and a half in a room with the Elephant Man.